Welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, I'm going to release this earlier in the morning, but when you guys are seeing this, we're going to be talking about the numbers for today, whether that's the CPI and some expected reactions to those numbers, depending on how we measure up. Now, the expected reading is around a 6.2, and there's been a number of catalysts saying what the market will do, depending on where we come in, all the way from hopium to most likely, and whether or not the Fed will cause like a pause or continue hiking as well. Again, we're expecting around a 6.2. So JP Morgan released a report. Pretty much they're saying that if we come in at 6.3, which is higher, then that's going to be resulting in pretty much a bear or pretty much a downtrend in the market, because it has not been priced in that we would come in higher than expectation. So they believe the response to that will be we'll get a 25 BPS in March, followed by additional hikes. Base case is going to be like neutral, which means if we come in at like a 5.9 or roughly around a 5.9, we'll get another 25 basis point hike next month, and then we'll pause, right? And that's going to be more neutral. That's kind of what the market, quote unquote, has already priced in. And a bit on the hopium side here is if we come in at 5.7, the Fed is pretty much going to call off the basis point hike, and we're going to go to the moon, basically, because we have not priced that in. And that'll mean pretty much inflation is well below expectations, and it's taking a huge leap down, and we're going to literally see some parabolic action tomorrow. That is, in my opinion, the least likely. I do believe we'll certainly be somewhere around neutral to relatively close to the 6.2. If we do come in at what's like 5.9, 5.8 or something like that, that'll be certainly fine. I do believe even in that case, we'll certainly see an uptick in the market. But if we come in relatively at expectations, that's fine too, because I do believe that we are seeing evidence of that inflation on the reports here. So even if it's not particularly like this month, I don't believe it's like the end of the world. So let's take a look here at the charts and kind of see where we'll end up on both sides of this, depending on how we will come out tomorrow with the numbers. Now for Doge here, if we're looking at a downward spin, like if we are coming in or if we beat expectation coming in around like 6.3, that can send us down to at least to the next lowest level of support, which would be like around like 7.8 to 7.7. Yeah, I say 7.877. So drop us down a few, less than a penny, but ultimately that'll break the previous the support that we are right now, basically, because we've been kind of trending sideways, in my opinion, due to volume and kind of like the uncertainty around the CPI meeting, as most assets have. We're going to take a look, but I do believe that if we to the downside, that'll certainly be the case. If we come in on the hopium side, like that 5.7, 5.6 or something like that, then we can certainly retest the 9 range, or even, let's see, yeah, I'll say 9 to about 9.5 before momentum kind of cools off. I think that we'll see an allocation back in there. For Bitcoin, let's take a look here. It's doing the same thing, kind of pumped the brakes on that gap down. So we haven't seen, it didn't go all the way back to 20. If we come in bearish above expectations, you can certainly see the kind of finish seeing this get filled. So you can expect probably another leg down here, closer to low 21s, if not back into the high 20s. So before the brakes get pumped on that. So kind of keep that in mind. Reversal of that, if this is the hopium and we come in at 5.6 or something for whatever reason, then yeah, we're going to go back to 22, 23. So just literally consider it like these prices like an undoing of the last 2 weeks. Same thing here. Brakes got pumped on this gap down. Ethereum here, this is where Ethereum needs to build support. Unlike because Doge and Bitcoin, I even believe Cardano as well, are relatively close to support lines where they are now, where they can potentially see some new buy orders come in to kind of keep, even though if there's a sell-off, you can kind of keep the price relatively close to where it is now. Ethereum, on the other hand, would be in big trouble. That'll, like this here, this is nasty. So if this doesn't, if we get a breakdown in Ethereum here, we're going to see well below, I say probably at least a $400 drop. So this here is like Ethereum fighting for its life right now to maintain this price. So because if this breaks, this is going to be a nasty fall here. So that if I think tomorrow, if we do miss very badly, Ethereum will probably be the biggest loser. Not even probably. I'm fairly certain that Ethereum would suffer the most if that were the case. So, but that means that it'll be on sale. So it's a great time to you can kind of especially if your average is higher than that, you can certainly pick up some. This is Cardano. Yeah, this is what I was saying. So right here, which is not bad. You certainly, if we do fall, you can certainly see some buy orders come in at around a low 30s range. So not the end of the world, but after that, it gets nasty. But all the other top four coins that we search here have close support where you can see some liquidity come in for them to kind of stop that fall to hell here. But Ethereum is going to be in big trouble here unless they you build new supports, which is possible. It's not unlikely, but based off of the chart there, it looks like the previous 5 times it has shown that has been the case. So that gap based on history has about 100% chance of being filled. So just kind of keep that in mind, especially if you're looking to add Ethereum or if you already have Ethereum or something like that. If this line doesn't hold, you're going to certainly have an opportunity based off of how these numbers read and stuff like that. And if there is some type of panic in the market tomorrow. Overall, I believe that I don't think it's like a deal breaker if we come in rather neutral or relatively close to expectations. I don't believe we have to come in at like a 5.6 or something like that. I think that's just like a best case scenario, even certainly on the hopium side, that we're going to come in that low and the market just goes absolutely parabolic. I think something neutral will be beneficial. I think it is still a step in the right direction. It puts us in position to do another 25 basis point hike and then pause, but it just kind of put the perspective out there if we were to pause right now. So ultimately, outside of the numbers that you're seeing in core inflation and the metrics that Powell is using, the biggest factor is, and the biggest question is, when Powell is going to actually pause. That's really what all of this is about. There's a lot of liquidity that's not in the markets right now because of the uncertainty of when Powell is going to pause. So if we can get some evidence on that, or at least some light shine on that tomorrow ahead of the March meeting, we'll start to see some numbers get priced in either way. Because remember, Powell said at the next meeting they're going to do their updated numbers here as far as for how far they expect to go with the BPs. So as of right now, we're at like 4.75. They're expected to go to 5.25. So they have the opportunity to do 3 things, which is pause right now, hike another BP to 5 and stop, or do their 2 other 0.25s as planned. So any of the former 2 will result in pretty much a positive direction on the market, because that's a earlier than expected pivot. So really, these numbers here are really, really important here, because this is kind of going to set us up to what kind of Q2 that we're going to have. So this is why this is a big deal, and people are going to be watching very closely tomorrow as these numbers roll out. I'll be watching as well. I'll be providing updates if we do get a shock in the market and we start seeing some fluctuations in the market. Obviously, we'll talk about it here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel if you have not, and I will see you in the next video.